This is our day 2 upper body program. I've got the mobile program up here. A couple simple changes. For the first one, in between the landmine press and the one-arm dumbbell row that everyone's going to do, the non-mobile athlete's going to do this kneeling, extension, and rotation, which is different than you'll see for the mobile athlete. And then from there, you have the ability to split up your team. The mobile guys can stay in the big gym and perform the dumbbell press and the TRX High Row, while the mobile guys will be in the main weight room with all the pulleys and the dumbbells. And then they can switch back over, and the non-mobile guys will go over to the other section with the pulleys, where they're going to perform the one-arm cable or band press along with the Zottman Curls. To compare this to the upper body day of the mobile athlete, again, just with this particular exercise, again, everyone's going to be doing the landmine press, everyone's going to be doing a dumbbell row, but the mobile guys here are going to do a partner side plank, which I'll go over. So again, once they're done here, everyone works out together, doing the A's together in the big part of the gym, the sort of the CrossFit area, and then the mobile guys will go over to the weight room, where they're going to perform their alternating dumbbell press and the reverse flies, and then they'll come back over to the area where they started to do the A ones, and they'll perform their TRX high rows and tempo push-ups, which I'll go over as well. Landmine press, you get a barbell, stick it in either an apparatus like this if you have one. If you don't have one of these guys, put a towel around the end of the barbell and stick it in the corner. From there, when you do this exercise, you really want to think about keeping your ribs down. See, his ribs aren't going to be flaring. The telltale sign of that is by looking at the low back. If you see the low back starting to arch right around there, then we're not doing it properly. When that happens, you end up pushing the weight away from you. If it's too heavy, you'll find that instead of pushing the weight away, you end up pushing yourself back. Always have a nice controlled descent with this exercise. And the knee that's down is the same arm that's pressing. So in this case, his right arm is pressing and his right knee is on the ground. Kneeling, extension, and rotation. To start this one up, you put your one hand on the back of your head and you sit back on your heels. A big thing we need to worry about is pushing the ground away with this hand here and keeping this elbow locked out. What that does is enables you to rotate through your shoulders here, and I want no movement happening at the hips. The whole idea of this exercise is to get sort of hip and shoulder separations. So you hold it at the top, look up through that armpit, and then you come back down, poke that elbow through the gap between your arm and your knee, and that is just a reload. Partner side plank with pertubations. This is this fancy word here. All it really means is you're sort of pushing the guy around. First and foremost, you need to maintain a good side plank position, which is going to be your body in that perfectly straight line, not letting your hips sag, not letting your hips push back or your head push forward. Perfect side plank position. So the partner, it really comes down to how good of a partner you got, and they need to push and allow for stabilization. This guy's going maybe a little too fast. You'll find it, depending on how good the person is at this exercise, when you push them, their arm is going to move quite a bit. But just try not to kind of slap their wrist around too much. Give them a push and then allow them to kind of hold to stabilize for that position. Usually you're going to be doing this for a time, so it doesn't matter how many you do. You just give them a good little bit of a push, allow them to stabilize, and then move them around. But always do it in an unpredictable manner. So push from the side, up, down. You got 4 different directions to choose from, so keep it in an unpredictable manner. One-arm dumbbell row, you want to get nice and wide with this one first. Wide and stable. Get your foot further away from the bench. Don't have it in too tight. Nice strong arm through here on the bench. You need to be really stable because you can handle a lot of weight with this particular exercise. In this case, with the dumbbell on the right hand, on the way down, you can let that right shoulder dip a little bit lower than the left shoulder, but as it comes back up, it's not going to get higher than the left shoulder. It's too much twisting. There is some slight kind of horizontal movement to it, so the dumbbell doesn't go exactly straight up and down. It's got a little bit of an angle to it. You can think about sawing some wood. And this is the exercise that gets butchered the most in the gym, and that's what I mean by this point down here. Don't be that guy. Everyone's seen someone grab too much weight on a one-arm dumbbell row, and it looks like they're starting a lawnmower. So make it strong, make it stable, but don't use too much body English to get those reps in there with this exercise. Dumbbell press. Real nice controlled descent on this exercise. Don't grab a weight that's too much for you, but as you come back down, you only want your elbows to get a little bit past your body. If this bench were to go straight out, he'd be bringing his elbows just a little bit past that line. You could go further, but don't. So you only want to go to the point where your elbows can just get a little bit past your body that way. A nice little pause at the bottom each time. Your elbow needs to be anywhere between, is a lot of difference, anywhere between about 80 and 45 degrees from your body. So like this sort of distance here, he is definitely closer to 80. The main thing, as always, is your wrists are right over top of your elbows. So at the bottom they're there, and then at the top those wrists are still over top of those elbows that way. TRX High Row. The goal here is to really work your upper back, and in order to do that you have to keep your elbows up nice and high the whole time. Elbows are up even as he lets himself back down. You want to bring your thumbs up towards your forehead, towards like your temples. That's another way to think about it. A common tendency is kind of, as you come up, is to kind of shoot your head forward as you get to the top, which gives you the sensation that you're getting a little bit further, but keep your head back. Nice little pause at the top. When you get to the top, really kind of flex those upper back muscles, even your arms, and just try to hold that position for a second before lowering yourself back down. If you find that you've made this exercise too hard, or you're getting towards the end, you'll also find that your hips are going to have the tendency to kind of lead forward. You're going to push your hips out, but I want a nice straight line all the way from the ear down to the bone on the outside of your ankle, no matter where you are in this exercise. To make this exercise easier, all you'd have to do is kind of move your feet back. To make it harder, you move your feet in. Alternating dumbbell press. This guy's maybe moving a little bit too fast for my liking, but so again, really control the weight on the way back down. But the main part is the arm that's not moving is staying nice and strong and stable. So we'll get this view here again. Elbow is staying strong. Sometimes you have to concentrate on that arm just as much as the arm that you're doing. So a nice controlled descent, negative, and a nice little pause at the bottom. Elbows can be tucked a bit more into your side, no more than 45 degrees away from your side. So in this case, using this thing here, this is a 45-degree angle from your body to make an arrow. So I want you to be here or even a little bit less. You don't want to be in this area here at all. Reverse flies on a bench. We're always going to be using pretty light weights. You can also use plates that you would find for barbells, like 5s, even 2.5s and stuff like that. The real secret here that we really want to do is try to always keep like a 90-degree angle from your body to your arm. You're going to have the tendency for your arms to kind of go, as you come back up, they're not going to make that perfect 90-degree angle and make a letter T. They're going to make more of like a V. You can have a little slight bend in the elbows the whole time, but wherever that joint angle is, try to keep it the same the whole time. You really want to stay bent over. You find chest close to here. You'll find if you have to do, say, 15 reps here, you start here, but by the end of it, your chest is way up here. So you want to really stay down. And even with your head, try to keep like a double chin. Don't look up. The thing that I'll try to tell a lot of athletes when doing this one is you almost want to try to, when you get to the top, is almost try to catch the weight at the top and then really slow on the way down and a complete pause at the bottom. Otherwise, we'll have the tendency to really kind of get our arms swinging too much. The goal here is, again, just to isolate these muscles that are our rear delts, as we call them, which are going to be essential for arm health. Tempo push-up. This is a normal push-up, but we're just going to go to a really slow kind of moving tempo. Ideally, it's just going to look like a moving plank. The body is perfectly straight the whole time, but we're just going to take about 3 seconds to come down, and we're going to do 3 seconds to come back up. So that means it's 6 seconds per rep, and if you're going to do 10 reps, it's going to be exactly 1 minute. A big tendency here is you really want to keep that double chin and watch out for that low back sway, but the tempo push-up is geared towards helping sort of grow certain muscles of your chest, shoulders, and triceps with that nice controlled tempo. When you're looking at it from above, in terms of your elbow placement, I want you to look more like an arrow. So that means your elbows are more tucked into your sides rather than a T, where your elbows will be flared out to the sides at a 90-degree angle. One-arm cable press. Big tendency here is to sort of arch your back if you have a weight that's too heavy, then you'll have the tendency to kind of arch your back, and the weight will kind of push you back rather than you pushing the weight forward. You really want to try to stay square. Don't let the resistance kind of rotate you in that direction. And if you don't have access to a cable machine, use a heavy jump band or a bunch of normal resistance bands and play around with this one. Zottman curls, these are great for your forearms. So on the way down, when you turn your palms on the way down, as right now, that's a lot of forearm strength. So to keep this one, to keep it simple in your head, your palms are up on the way up, and then their palms down on the way down. So palms up on the way up, flick your wrists over, palms down on the way down. So again, really control that negative part, that part on the way down. That's where we're really trying to get our forearms here nice and controlled. Try to keep your elbows tucked to your sides as much as you can. Your flexibility is going to determine that, but that's going to really help you develop bigger, stronger forearms.